Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
Welcome to TGL, presented by SoFi. Golf's newest league, live on ESPN and ESPN Plus. It's 2 hours of hammer dropping, overtime forcing, playoffs on the line golf, Tiger, Rory, and more of the best from the PGA Tour, split into 16. Learn more at TGLGolf.com. Tune in every week for TGL matches. Keep up, it's golf.
Mornings can start feeling the same. Wake up, brush teeth, go to work. But with breakfast from Wendy's, it's like, wake up, brush teeth, Baconate with a breakfast Baconator. Roll with the sausage breakfast burrito. Buddy it up with a honey buddy. Or get seasoned with seasoned potatoes. And then go to work. Sorry. When you're ready for a fresh wake-up call, gotta be Wendy's.
At participating U.S. Wendy's during breakfast hours.
It's time for basketball. And right now, Uber Eats has deals on McDonald's, Popeyes, Pizza Hut, Wendy's, and hundreds more local favorites. So you can keep your eyes on the ball and your hands on a hamburger. Get game day deals now, only on Uber Eats. Product availability varies by region. See app for details.
The KFH Studios, powered by Devon James Injury Lawyers. Call 888-8888.
That's 888-8888.
Traffic.
We have a stalled out vehicle westbound on Kellogg. It is between Hydraulic and I-135. As those traffic volumes start to pick up, watch for a slowdown there. Traffic update from 98.7.
What's that?
Weather.
Plenty of sunshine as we kickstart the new week. The threat of grass fires.
I'm not going to retweet it from K-Witch and listen in bed.
Out of the south, getting up to 15 to 25 miles an hour. Gusts are going to be pushing 30 to 35 miles an hour. High of 78 degrees. Also going to be warm to start the new week. With your Storm Track 3 forecast, I'm meteorologist John Williams.
Finally, something you can shout across the room that won't start an argument.
Alexa, tell your smart speaker to play
97.5 and 1240 KFH. Kansas fan headquarters, 97.5 and 1240 KFH Wichita. KNSS HD2 Clearwater, an Odyssey sports station.
Hey Wichita, Jacob Albrock. Stay right there for the latest breaking news. Sports Daily coming up next, exclusively on 97.5 and 1240 KFH.
I'm Chris Sylvester with NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network. The Seahawks have agreed to contract terms with wide receiver Cooper Kupp on a 3-year, $45 million deal, according to NFL Network insiders. Kupp, a former Offensive Player of the Year, spent the last 8 seasons.
Oh, so we have to turn that down?
Vikings are acquiring running back Jordan Mason
we won't be able
from the 49ers in exchange for a 2025 pick swap and a 2026 sixth-round pick. NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport reports that Minnesota is signing Mason to a 2-year deal worth over $7 million guaranteed with a max value of $12 million. Meanwhile, 49ers are re-signing fullback Kyle Juszczyk to a 2-year, $8 million contract just days after releasing him. Juszczyk has spent the last 8 seasons in San Francisco. Chiefs are bringing back wide receiver Juju Smith-Schuster on a 1-year deal, and the Ravens have agreed to terms with quarterback Cooper Rush on a 2-year deal worth up to $12.2 million per Ian Rappaport and Tom Pelissero. This has been NFL Network Now on the Westwood One Radio Network.
All right, when it comes to getting life insurance for your family, a lot of excuses can get in the way. But ask yourself this: if something were to happen to me, who would pay the mortgage, the kids' education, and the other bills? Then forget the excuses and check out Ethos Life, the online, easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Ethos has rates that you can afford, like a $500,000 policy for a 40-year-old male starting at $1 a day or $30 a month, with a few health questions and no medical exam. Get your free quote right now at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Rates do vary.
1 in 4 Americans have a disability. I'm one of them. I'm also a working mom who cares deeply about making sure every child with a disability thrives by getting their access needs met. We've got a trusted ally by our side. Easter Seals provides children and families the foundation for lifelong success through early learning programs, skills training, and prep for college and career. That's my Easter Seals. Make it yours. Join us at easterseals.com.
Now, from Wichita's most listened to sports radio, 97.5 and 1240 KFH. This is Sports Daily with Jacob Albrock and Tommy Kester.
Well, hey, everybody. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
We are live from the Blarney Breakfast right now here in Wichita on one of the busy sports days of the year, and we're happy to be here. So some bagpipes will serenade us, perhaps, as we break down brackets. Selection Sunday is in the books. We know where KU is headed. We know that the Shockers will be playing postseason basketball, perhaps to the surprise of everybody, but they are. So we'll get into their NIT bid. We'll, of course, talk Jayhawks. We will talk a few Chiefs moves over the weekend, but we're hard with college basketball today, and it's going to be fun. Jacob Albrock here alongside Tommy Castor. Max is missing all the fun back in the studio, and we're glad to be here with you live over the air on KFH, if that's the way you're listening to us. If you're watching us on our video streams, hope you like the festivities. Green, thanks to Zeb for setting that up. Tommy, woke up too early this morning and forgot to wear green. And I've been pinched twice already.
I mean, that
appropriately so.
Everybody has noticed that. I mean, you stick out like a sore thumb when you walk in to the Blarney Breakfast, and you're the only one in the building not wearing green.
It's the one day I can't contact HR because somebody pinched my butt.
You kind of like it, though.
I do like
You're
it.
okay with that.
I do like it. It's always welcome, folks. We'll take it like we can. Any way we can get it. We're glad to be here. We'll talk a little with the Rainbows United folks who put this great event on. It is packed, by the way. If you wanted pancakes, too bad. You needed tickets a long time ago, but you can still help out a great organization, and we'll tell you about that a little bit later in the show as well. Tommy, brackets are out. Are you a filled them out immediately person? Because I am. Like, a second they come out, I try to just, like, don't overthink it and just, like, gut reaction, go get it filled out, and then take that and enter it everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, I've got a couple already filled out and ready to go.
Whoa. How many you fill out more than one bracket?
Of course. I mean, how can you only fill out one? That doesn't. I mean, you've got to have the one that you're banking on, and then you do a weird one where you're like, all right, this is where I'm picking the upsets that I, probably won't happen, but they very well could.
The only acceptable reason to do a second one is if you're in like a big contest and you are allowed a couple of entries, but you're not allowed to talk about that bracket. Like, you don't get to have more than one bracket and then just claim to have picked every upset because you randomly picked them in one of your 6 brackets. Like, you can't do that.
Like, you don't have a, pipe dream kind of bracket that.
No, I have my bracket.
Totally led with upsets and crazy things.
No. I have my bracket. Okay. Now, because you can't, like, I can't sit there and be like, I had UC San Diego, but I had them in one of 7 brackets. Like, I picked that one.
I think it's okay to have 2. Like, I don't have 6. I don't have 12.
It's okay to enter 2 into a contest, but you only get to claim one.
I mean, fine. I'll claim mine.
Yeah.
And then I've got
that's
the
fine.
wild pipe dream one.
That's fine.
Who's your national
only for
champion?
Gambling purposes.
When you filled yours out, who's your national
You're not going to like this because I heard you talking earlier, but it's Houston. Yeah. And I've wanted to take Houston for a while. It was going to be very difficult for me to not take Duke. But I think the Cooper Flag injury was just enough of an opening to take Houston and Kelvin Sampson. It's a bet on Sampson. Man, he's so good at what he does.
Yeah.
And the fact that they were able to get through the Big 12 tournament was just sort of the icing on the cake for me. Like, everybody's gunning for them. Everybody knows they're good. So I'm going to take them. But this is a year where I think I agree that Duke is a relatively heavy favorite. I think Duke's really, really good. But when I got to the end of my bracket, and I don't think I've ever done this before, and I didn't even realize it as I was filling it out, I have the 4 1s in the Final Four.
Oh, the last time that happened was 2008.
Yeah, I remember
and I think
that
that's
year.
The only time that's actually ever happened.
That's right. I didn't do it on purpose.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't. My problem was I didn't want to put Auburn in, but I actually think Auburn got a nice draw. I know everyone was talking about how bad a draw they got. I don't agree. I think Auburn got the draw. Because I think Tennessee, Texas Tech are both big landmines. You could call Michigan State a landmine, I think. And I really like Iowa State. So in that second bracket, it's just like I wanted to put Tech in there or I wanted to put Tennessee in there. But the problem is Houston and Florida are playing in my championship game, so I couldn't do that.
I thought you didn't like Florida. Didn't you tell me a while ago you didn't like Florida?
I like Florida. I mean, how could you not like them after watching the SEC tournament? They were a little one-dimensional, I think, when I saw them early in the year. But as they played late in the year, they're going to be hard to beat. Like, I like them a lot more than I like Auburn. I'll say that. But to roll through that tournament the way they did, How could you not like Florida? Here's the bagpipes for you, ladies and gentlemen, by the way. So we're again at the Blarney Breakfast. We're going to dig into all these brackets. Most importantly for our show is what happened to Kansas. And we want to give that more time, so we're not going to do it this for a shorter segment. Just though, at a bird's eye, Tommy, Kansas got the perfect draw. Opponent-wise, that is the perfect draw they could have gotten.
Yeah, at least to get to the second weekend, I would.
Which
agree
is
with
what
that.
we've been
I
saying.
would agree with that. I mean,
yeah.
Having a team like Arkansas that you face up against, when you've got Bill Self and John Calipari and a lot of history there between those two guys, with the opportunity to potentially match up with a Rick Pitino coached St. John's team. From a coaching perspective, it's difficult because you've got Hall of Famers loaded in the first weekend against Kansas. But from a stylistic perspective, from the way that this Kansas team plays and the chances for them to make it to the second weekend, I agree with you. It's a good draw for them.
It's and we're going to get into, honestly, even if you want, I know Tech's not a good stylistic matchup, but they've played Tech twice at least. At least you're getting into a situation where you could potentially play a team that you're very familiar with.
Yeah. By the way,
it's perfect.
I know we're going to talk more bracket and KU later. Even though you didn't wear green, you could have worn a kilt at least and actually got into the spirit.
I know. I
of St.
forgot.
Patrick's Day.
I forgot. I forgot what day it was. I knew what we were doing, but this morning, that 30 minutes earlier. So what is it? When I normally wake up 5:30 or so, like it's not. It's just like, all right, what do I have to do here? How do I get everything settled? Kids are all on spring break, so it's just trying to sort through the morning. And I totally forgot St. Patrick's Day. I will do my best not to forget a green tie on TV tonight.
I know that you have a closet full of kilts that you could have picked from, and it's disappointing that we didn't get to see it in your regalia today.
Yeah, I knew we were going to be sitting on high tops, and you can't wear a kilt and not go commando.
I mean, you just got to cross your legs the entire time.
Yeah, maybe so.
You don't pull a Sharon Stone Basic Instinct. You can't do that. You do that, all bets are off at that point.
I think I missed that scene.
I don't know how you missed that scene. As
a teenager of those years.
Yeah,
that
defined a generation.
Yeah, I don't know that I saw that scene. I don't know that I saw that movie. Is it a good movie?
I don't know.
Does anybody care
I've
about
literally
the movie?
only watched
Yeah.
that particular scene.
Yeah. All right. I gotta think about that. I don't think I've made it. Anywho, so we're going to talk brackets today. We'll give you our final fours. We'll give you those upsets we kind of like in the first round. Who's the team that's going to make a run and do those sorts of crazy things? We'll have all of that. The Chiefs make a couple of moves this weekend. There's just a lot of good stuff coming.
The Wichita teams, going to be downtown this week. We were talking about it before we came on the air. The teams are loaded. The slate is loaded for the Wichita games on Thursday and then on Saturday for the second round. So we've got to break into all of that, talk about all of that, because I think that the lineup outside of Kansas not playing in Wichita, I mean, the teams are phenomenal.
I don't know about perfect, but it's very, very good.
Very good.
Yeah, the Wichita region looks incredible. But we're going to get into all of that. Just set the table here from old Chicago. We're at the Blarney Breakfast. Great event. We'll tell you more about that later in the show. But when we come back, we'll get into Kansas. What do we think of their draw? That's next on Sports Daily.
$66 counties, 4 regions, and 1 weather team that you can trust. Find Storm Team 12 every weekday at 5:30 on the KSCW. Whatever the weather and wherever you are, Storm Team 12 is zooming in, going zone by zone to give you a more in-depth look at the forecast and some science behind the storms so you know more. We're focusing on the forecast so you can focus on what's important to you. Storm Team 12 Weather Focus, 5:30 on the KSCW.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite, or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Is the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
What is GMFB Overtime?
It's Peter, Jamie, Kyle, and Akbar breaking down the NFL 5 days a week.
It's okay to be excited.
It's this, that, and a whole lot of... It's football for everyone.
Weekdays at 10 a.m. on KSCW.
Are following a breaking update.
Every day, all day, stream the stories that have you talking near and far.
Whoever is behind the wheel of this bus is not stopping.
From hundreds of local reporters and meteorologists spanning the country.
Chaos here this morning at the UW campus.
Search LNL for the all-new Local News Live streaming app.
Make yourself known now.
83101 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems
Why are they hiding it?
and real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issue a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
Sports Daily on KFH.
All right, welcome back in, everybody. It is Jacob Albrock, Tommy Castor here with you live from Old Chicago over by Town East Mall at the Blarney Breakfast. It's jam-packed. We're going to talk brackets. We're going to talk KU's draw in just a second. But the reason we're out here is to help Rainbows United, and we've got Michelle in from Rainbows United. Michelle, great event.
Oh, yeah, it is packed and happening this morning. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Happy St. Patrick's Day. We're slinging pancakes. We got the bagpipes going. There's a drum line going. It's very festive. It's awesome. But if you missed it, you'll have to do it next year. But that's not the only way people can help Rainbows United, right? This is a great cause.
That's right, yeah. So Rainbows is a local, not-for-profit, serving children with special needs in their families. And even if people aren't able to be on, site today. They can purchase a raffle ticket for our Pot of Gold 50/50 raffle. Those are available online at rainbowsunited.org. Just go on there. You can purchase raffle tickets. You can also tip coffee pours. So we got some celebrities. The mayor just came in. People can tip them, and all those donations go to help children with special needs and their families.
You know, it's really cool, Michelle. This is the 50th year of the Blarney Breakfast. And, you know, as somebody who's grown up here, been here my entire life, I've always heard about the Blarney Breakfast. It's always kind of lived in this like lore for me. I've never been, first time I've ever been to the Blarney Breakfast is today, and it lives up to everything. Talk about the history of this event.
Yeah, well, welcome to the magic.
Thank you.
Yeah, so it was started actually by Cake TV and Cake Radio at that time, 50 years ago. About 3 years in, it was so successful, they decided they'd hold the contest, and people could write in to say what charity they'd like it to support. And one of our family members, Margaret Shook, actually wrote a letter. And ever since then, it's been supporting Rainbows United services.
All right, that's fantastic, Michelle. It is. You guys have done such a good job. Like, I can't even believe how much people are into it. Everybody's having a great time with it and for it. So again, one more time, give us the website. You can still get tickets for the raffle. So you can still, there's a big prize that goes till midnight. How do people enter the raffle?
So rainbowsunited.org, just go on there, follow the different prompts to the Blarney Breakfast, and you can purchase Pot of Gold 50/50 raffle tickets. We'll draw tomorrow morning. You guys will be able to announce it tomorrow morning, who the winner is. They get half the pot, Rainbows gets the other half, and it all goes to support children with special needs right here in our own community.
That's fantastic. Michelle, thank you so much for having us. Thanks for stopping by here, and go have some pancakes.
Yeah, enjoy the magic. Happy St. Patrick's Day.
Thank you very much. There goes Michelle Eastman, Rainbows United. Love having her in here with us as a part of this great group, organization, and event. This is a lot of fun. And it's festive, except for me. I forgot green, and I feel terrible for it. But hey,
you know we're never going to let you live that down.
Well, I was like, oh, I'll wear my nice Odyssey thing. What are these called? Pullovers?
Yeah.
Cardigan. Thanks for asking.
Quarter zip.
I'll wear that. I'll be festive, you know, and then just totally forgot where I was and what day it was. It is St. Patrick's Day. It is Reaction Monday after Selection Sunday. And we have a lot of things to react to. So we gave you just like a bird's eye look. Tommy and I are both taking Houston as our champions. I did not see that coming. I will bet you Houston is I haven't looked yet. I know they're not. I'll bet you they're not one of the top 4 teams picked as a champion. So they're pretty good. If you're trying to win a bracket contest, for a 1 seed, they're pretty good. They're pretty good take on it. Everybody's all about the SEC this year. Rightfully so. They had a nice year. But there is a part of me that's like, all right, bring it on. Like, let's see the Big 12. Because I think there are a lot of teams in the Big 12 that are capable of winning games in this tournament. We talked about Texas Tech, Iowa State. Certainly are. Houston's our champion. I think they're capable. BYU's sort of a wild card to me. Like, they could get busted early, or they could shoot their way into, like, the Elite Eight or something like that. But
they've got a really tough first-round matchup against VCU. And so if they can get past that, then I think that they will. I've got them going a long way. In fact, I think it's going to be a really big year for the Big 12 because there's not all this focus on the Big 12 having a bunch of teams in the tournament. All the focus is on the SEC. And so in years past, you know, there's always this conversation about 9, 10, even potentially 11 teams from the Big 12 getting in. And then inevitably the conference, you know, the teams start getting bumped left and right. And everybody's talking about how, the Big 12 has too many teams and whatever. That's not the narrative going into this tournament. The narrative is the SEC has a bunch of teams. I think the Big 12 can kind of fly under the radar.
Yep.
In fact, I've got, this might be a little bit over the top, but I've got 3 of my 4 Final Four teams are Big 12 teams. I've got Houston, I've got Texas Tech, and I've got BYU in the Final Four.
I thought about it. I like Texas Tech. Wait, who's your third?
BYU. I've got BYU going all the way to the Final Four.
I've got BYU going on a run, but losing to Duke. If you heard that applause, the powers that be made a mistake by giving me a mother soundboard.
Wow. Okay.
Tommy.
This is the first time you've used one of these.
I've never had such easy access.
Yeah, I don't like it because now you can tell a bunch of corny jokes and you can hit the button yourself.
That's right. That's right. There's not a rim shot, but there is applause. And I've got a bleep here. We're not actually going to say anything, anybody, so don't worry. Max, don't panic. But we have the beep button so we can pretend that we are, which is great. But no fart sound. No fart sound, unfortunately. We're gonna have to do something about that.
Or fortunately, depending on how you look at it.
So I'm with you on BYU on a run, by the way, and then Kansas. The only team to me that they got out of the Big 12 that got kind of a tough draw is Baylor. But of course, then it's Scott Drew, and Baylor makes runs all the time. So but other than that, I'm with you. I kind of like all the Big 12 teams. Let's talk about Kansas, one of those Big 12 teams. We talked a lot. It was, and man. Was Tommy in panic mode as Selection Sunday was coming down, that Kansas kept it was like there's no more 6s and 7s. Like there's a 50-50 shot. Now it's all in the order of things, right? But by the way we were being presented the information, we were at a 50-50 chance they came to Wichita, but they did not. And it's good that they didn't, because they got a better draw.
I had a moment, by the way, where I shifted from it's never going to happen. Kansas is never going to play in Wichita with the way that they've played this season. And then the brackets being unveiled, and I'm like switching to, this could actually happen. And then I wanted it to happen for about 5 minutes. I'm like, this is going to be great. And then it didn't.
Because it could, right? Like we've seen it so many times over so many years where look at what just happened to Auburn.
Yeah.
They're going to play Louisville in Kentucky.
Right. Hey, had Texas Tech stayed on the 2 line,
yeah, they probably
I think they probably would have ended up in Wichita.
But then maybe Iowa State. The problem Kansas ran into with that is and this is, if we go all the way back to when we started trying to project this out for Kansas, the issue that we saw then is the issue that bit them from the chance, and that there were too many teams closer to Wichita because of the way the sites are set up. Like all the Texas teams are closer to Wichita. So Kansas was having to, back then we thought maybe it was going to be as a 2 or a 3 seed, right? Competing with Tech and Iowa State and A&M and all these teams that are right there. Now it ended up, they were on the other side of it. They were bad enough that they were on the 6 and the 7 line, but the same issue arose. I think the committee was going to have a hard time putting 3 Big 12 teams in the same little, regional site. So it didn't happen, but that's the bad news, I think, for fans. But the good news for fans is they got the best draw they could have gotten. I really like when you look at where Kansas will come in as the 7. We've said for a week, I think Kansas's best shot will be St. John's. Whether Kansas is a 6 and they're a 3, or Kansas is a 7 and they're a 2, that's the team you want to play. We don't want to see, and Kansas may not beat St. John's, but we don't want to see Kansas play a team that can really shoot. And they drew in the first 2 games 2 teams that can't particularly shoot, teams that defend. Well, if you're going strength on strength, there's not anybody in the country that ought to be able to, Tommy. And I know they have to execute this, and they don't always execute it, but there's not a team in the country that ought to be able to defend better than Kansas. So now you've got strength on strength. You've got 2 other teams that don't shoot the 3 well, just like Kansas. And you've got 2 teams that are really good defensively, just like Kansas. 3 Hall of Fame coaches that we're looking at there. And here we go. You take your shot, right? You take your chances. And it's going to be tough. They're 3 Hall of Fame coaches. But this is what you wanted if you were Kansas. I mean, it's near perfect. And then if you look one more in to have to play a Big 12 team to get into the Elite 8, well, at least you've seen those teams so much that you can take your chances that way.
Yeah, we all know that the struggle for Kansas down the stretch has been defending the 3. I mean, that's been a massive challenge for KU, is how do they get out? How do they defend the perimeter? Arkansas is 201st in the nation in 3-point percentage. And if you think that's bad, St. John is 338th in perimeter shooting. So fortunately for Kansas, at least in the opening weekend, they've gotten 2 teams that don't shoot the 3 well. We mentioned it last week. I talked about this last week, that not only has Kansas been bad at perimeter defending, but they've made even mediocre teams look great. Arizona is not a good 3-point shooting team. They made Arizona look really good in the Big 12 tournament at shooting the 3. So while the stats tell you that both of these teams that potentially Kansas will play in the opening weekend, are not good, Kansas has to make sure that, at least not good shooting the three, Kansas has to make sure that they don't make them look good by not closing out, by not, falling asleep on ball screens. They've got to make sure that they get out there and they defend and at least get a hand up.
Not play the way they did last year, honestly.
Yeah.
And look, there are times where teams are going to come through and shoot well in the tournament.
Right.
It's why we both like BYU a little bit, because they're prone to do that.
Totally.
But when you're going to neutral sites, when you've got tired legs in a second day or whatever, sometimes you can just shoot your way through it.
That was, and I think it's probably been this way for the last, month or so, where the ceiling probably was Sweet 16. And that might still be the ceiling for this Kansas team, but I do think the path to that is better than what it was even a week ago.
I think the ceiling's better than that. I don't think it's likely. But it's Tech, right? Like you've played them twice, and you'd be playing them a third. Missouri, Drake, like it's going to be, you're not the same stylistic benefit you get in the first two rounds. You're almost guaranteed to not get if they make the Sweet 16. Now you're going to play one team, whichever one comes through, that is going to be a really good shooting team. And that's where Kansas is going to have to step up and play some kind of special offensive game, I think, that they just don't play very often. But you take your chances. It doesn't, I'll say this. Going into it last year, this feels way more doable. Last year felt like a foregone conclusion. Maybe it's me being naive. I don't feel that way this year. I feel like they are so much more capable offensively than they were a year ago, and I don't think it's particularly close. At least you have options on a third score, a consistent, whether it's Mayo, whether it's Griffin. I don't think it's going to be Storr. I know he had that good game in the Big 12 tournament, but I don't think it'll be him.
I think it'll be.
Coit comes out. Diggy Coit can't play defense.
Yeah, I think it'll be Mayo, and I Mayo had a good Big 12 tournament.
He had a great Big 12.
And he has kind of turned things around where towards the end of the regular season, wasn't playing well, wasn't shooting the ball well. You could tell he was off. He's turned that around in the last couple of games in the Big 12 tournament down the stretch. If that can continue on, then you do have a reliable shooting threat for this Kansas team. Yeah. You're not going to bank on A.J. Storr. You're not going to bank on Rylan Griffin. You're probably not even going to bank on DeJuan Harris as a shooting threat for this team. Obviously, Hunter Dickinson is going to do what Hunter Dickinson does. KJ Adams can add a spark for you.
Those two have to do it.
They have to.
Yeah.
But then at least you feel like you've got a somewhat reliable threat in shooting, whether you're talking about mid-range jumpers or three-point shots. Mayo can be that guy for you. At least in these first two games against Arkansas and potentially St. John's.
Absolutely. So I think, we talk about the shooters. Like, there still has to be a floor of Dickinson and probably, I would say probably also KJ Adams to give you, some sort of combination to get you to 30, 35 points. That has to be their baseline offense, or I don't think they're going to be able to score enough.
Well, and now I think it's a little bit different than even what it was a few weeks ago. Now for Kansas, I don't think the question mark is where is the scoring going to come from? I think the question becomes, can they hold their opponent below what they need to? Because based on the Big 12 tournament, the game against Arizona, even the game against UCF, which I know went into overtime, Kansas gave up far too many points.
Oh, yeah.
You can't give up that number of points to, I don't care if we're talking about Arkansas or St. John's. You're going to lose those games if you give up 88, 92, 95 points against a team like that in the NCAA tournament. So it's not about, I don't think, a question mark about where the scoring is going to come from. I think it's more about, can they limit their opponent defensively?
It is. And that's why you like the matchup, right? Like the chances that these two teams do to them what teams in the Big 12 tournament have done to them or did to them, I think are lower, right? Like there were landmines for KU all over the tournament. everywhere. Like, oh no, if they play XYZ, it was Tennessee, it was St. John's. And then with the 8s and 9s, then you just kind of look all over or in this case, a 10 in Arkansas. That was too hard. But we were kind of looking at that second round, but it was St. John's or Tennessee. Like, that's who you wanted to play.
Yeah.
If you were Kansas, in that combination of teams, you didn't want Tech, you didn't want Iowa State, you didn't want probably Kentucky the way that they're playing lately. Who are the other ones? You didn't want there's another two. I'm forgetting. Oh, Michigan State. Michigan State would have been fine. But you didn't want Alabama. That's something.
Yeah, you didn't want Bama. You didn't want Duke. You didn't want a draw to be in those regions. If you're KU, I think on top of it too. I saw some chatter about this last night that Kansas. I've forgotten about this because it seems like it was an eternity ago. Kansas and Arkansas did play against each other in October in a charity game.
Yeah,
that was an exhibition. Ultimately, didn't matter. Hunter Dickinson didn't play in that game.
And
DeJuan Harris had like 28 points, 26 points. That's not going to happen, in this game. And so I think, I've seen people like, well, Arkansas beat Kansas by 16, just this season. Okay, it's an exhibition game. You were without Dickinson and DeJuan Harris.
Kansas is 4.5-point favorite.
Right. Yeah.
Kansas should win. I mean, they should. If they don't, it will be very disappointing. And honestly, with the draw they've been given, I'll be disappointed if they don't make it to the Sweet 16. Now, is that fair to St. John's? Maybe not. But Kansas was the preseason number 1. I don't think that's unfair to set that. Now that we've seen the draw, right, I don't think it's unfair to say Kansas ought to be able to get to the Sweet 16. They're good matchups. Kansas was the preseason 1. Kansas has shown over the course of this season, they beat Duke, they beat Michigan State. They should have beat Houston once. They could have beat Houston twice. It's not like Kansas. I can promise you, St. John's does not love that Kansas is in their region.
Not at all.
I can promise
not at all
that Florida doesn't love that Kansas is in their region. Go look at the 7s. Like, you don't want to play Kansas as a 7.
I think that one of the benefits is that Kansas is not going to get the benefit of the doubt. They're not going to get the attention because they've had a disappointing season based on their own standards. They're still a top 25 KenPom team, right? And so they are still a talented team. It's just a matter of whether or not they can get through the first round. I think the reason why if they can make it to the Sweet 16, to me, that I'm golden at that point. I don't want to play any combination, honestly, of Texas Tech, Missouri, or Drake in the Sweet 16. And those are 3 of the 4 teams that potentially Kansas could play in a Sweet 16 matchup. I don't want to play any one of them, to be honest with you.
No, I don't either. But those are everywhere, right? Like, once you get into the Sweet 16, those games are everywhere. We'll be back. We'll continue the conversation. We'll talk about the Wichita draw when we return on Sports Daily.
"66 counties, 4 regions, and 1 weather team that you can trust." Find Storm Team 12 every weekday at 5:30 on the KSCW. Whatever the weather and wherever you are, Storm Team 12 is zooming in, going zone by zone to give you a more in-depth look at the forecast and some science behind the storms so you know more. We're focusing on the forecast so you can focus on what's important to you. Storm Team 12 Weather Focus, 5:30 on the KSCW.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
It's the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
They say,
What is GMFB Overtime?
It's Peter, Jamie, Kyle, and Akbar breaking down the NFL 5 days a week.
It's okay to be excited.
It's this, that, and a whole lot of. It's football for everyone.
Weekdays at 10 a.m. on KSCW.
Are following a breaking update.
Every day, all day, stream the stories that have you talking near and far.
Whoever is behind the wheel of this bus is not stopping.
From hundreds of local reporters and meteorologists spanning the country.
Chaos here this morning at the UW campus.
Search LNL for the all-new Local News Live streaming app.
Make yourself known now.
31001 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospitalized from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
FH.
All right, welcome back in, everybody. It is Sports Daily here on KFH. Jacob Albrock, Tommy Castor coming to you live from Old Chicago. We've got Lily Wu, Wichita Mayor, coming over. My former co-anchor on KWCH. Are we? Yeah, it's this one here. Hey, Lily. Can you hear us? Are you good?
Yep.
Welcome.
We're
Perfect
good.
timing. We just came into a break. Lily's here. Are you tired?
Just a little bit, but it's okay. I get re-energized when I'm around such good people and just great cause. So I like this.
Yeah, Rainbows United. Get your raffle tickets, rainbowsunited.org. Lily, I got to add, so I heard you over there talking to Ted when we were on break. I've got your Wichita reveal here. I know you're busy. You didn't see the selection show. So we got Houston. Okay, that's good. They make a return trip. Gonzaga, Georgia are coming in. 2 good fan bases. Drake and Mizzou with a little regional draw there. And then we get Texas Tech up from Lubbock. Wichita, without getting KU, which really sucked, this is about as good as you could get for Wichita. You're going to have some crazy fan bases.
I can't wait. People need to come and check out the air capital of the world. We're going to be great hosts for the NCAA. And I'm looking forward to maybe Patrick Mahomes coming to Wichita.
Well, how about that?
So we've thought about that, and there's a pretty good chance, I would say. I would say there's a pretty good chance. I mean, It's a drive. I mean, or does he just fly private?
Well,
we got
probably
plenty of
fly
airports
private.
for
Yeah,
that
sure.
too. I don't know. What do you guys? What's cooking down there? What kind of cool stuff is happening?
Well, on behalf of the city of Wichita, I know that they're going to be cleaning up the downtown streets and making sure that everything looks nice for all of our visitors. This is such an economic impact for our community, and we want to put our best foot forward. We want to show people that this community likes basketball, is supportive, and wants to have a good time. So I know that there are plenty of parties going on outside of Intrust Bank Arena, and all the organizations that are doing that are just excited to bring folks into downtown.
And we'll take people on a little bit of a history lesson with it too, because after the first year, which was 2017 or 18, whatever it was, like the NCAA was like, yeah, we're going back there, right? And they wanted to, and then our draw was the COVID year. So we lost it. So then we had to wait another, like they didn't just shift it, like you just had to wait another time. So hopefully it's not this long in between again. But the NCAA wants to be here. Wichita showed up last time. I've been to Omaha, I think 3 times in 10 years to cover games. I think Wichita's got a chance to be in that sort of rotation.
I hope that Wichita just continues to be part of that rotation. I know that I covered it back when I was a journalist when they first came. And so I was really disappointed. Obviously, all of us were disappointed when COVID happened. But now we're back, and this is such a great time. 2025 is a good year for our city. And I just want people to have a good time in downtown. From Thursday to Saturday, it'll be a fun time in Wichita.
It will be, and we're giving Ross a hard enough time to get the weather good for us. That's the only thing holding us back. It looks like the blizzard will come a little earlier, and so we'll be cleaned up. We'll be fine.
It'll be good.
We'll be fine. We'll be down there live Thursday and Friday. Just to remind everybody, Lily, rainbowsunited.org. She's out here serving breakfast. We appreciate it.
Thank you
Thanks
very
for
much.
everything.
And happy St. Patty's
Yeah,
Day to both of you.
you too.
I forgot
And there's
my
even
green.
Police Chief Joe Sullivan.
Love it.
Hey, Joe.
Lily, before we let you go, how do you feel about the fact that your former co-anchor did not wear green today on St. Patrick's
Oh
Day?
my gosh, I get to pinch him.
Yeah, you're like the
There we
5th,
go.
rightfully so. It's too early.
I'll wear green on St.
I know.
God bless.
He'll never live that down.
I have a bright green sport coat. I'm talking like Kelly Green sport. I could have. I'm so upset.
Okay, well, we need to give you something green.
Yeah, we gotta do
I'm
something.
sure there's a hat somewhere.
Yeah.
I like it. Doesn't want
Lily,
to mess
thanks.
his hair up, though. Yeah, I like that.
Can't
You
mess
can
up.
do that.
Can't miss. What? Yeah.
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 He's
I
got
agree.
green eyes.
All right.
It works.
Lily.
Thanks, Lily.
Thanks.
Take care. See you
Always
guys.
good to see you. Very busy, Lily Wu. Lily does not miss an event. I will tell you that. She's everywhere. It's a blast. Look, Wichita, Tom, it's a perfect lead-in that we had Lily over there and we brought her in because Wichita's on display here. This is, I don't know about you, but like I beat my chest about this stuff now that this is home for me. Like I love telling people, oh yeah, Wichita will put on an incredible party. And we did the first year this happened, which was the 2017-18 season. Houston was here. Houston got upset that year. An incredible tournament game.
That was wasn't that
Buzzer
the late
beater.
game, the buzzer beater late game? I mean, that was, I tell this story a lot to people, and I don't know if I've told it on this show. I'm from Wichita, and I had never experienced anything like what was going on in 2018
Incredible.
downtown. I remember specifically there was one point with all the parties going on downtown, and I was making my way from one area to another, and I'm not going to lie, I probably had a couple of adult beverages throughout the course of the day.
As you should.
I didn't know where I was at one point. I literally lost all my bearings. I was completely turned around, and I'm like, I know I'm in Wichita, but I honestly don't know where I am right now because it was just pandemonium and chaos.
Yeah,
it was so much fun. It was incredible.
That's what like I've put so much emphasis on KU being here because that was a big part of that.
Yeah.
You know, when you're selling out practice sessions, or you're not selling out, but when you're at capacity for practice sessions, that's the kind of stuff that makes the NCAA come back.
Yeah.
And so, like, for me, it was like, you know, for Kansas in a year where they were preseason #1, where I just kept harping on that, like, man, because if the weather doesn't cooperate and you don't have Kansas, bad things can happen.
But think about also with the draw that Wichita got this year. Think about the
now.
the fan bases that
Yes.
travel. You know, we've got Houston and Tech. You've got, like you mentioned, the regional draw. Drake, those fans are used to coming to Wichita
we
with
got
that Valley rivalry for so many years.
We got a perfect.
Missouri fans will absolutely travel to Wichita.
Absolutely, they will.
I mean, like, and Gonzaga. I mean, are you kidding me? Like, it's going to be an impressive.
So I'm going to give you like a nightmare scenario. So let's say we didn't, because we did get a perfect draw. I'm not worried anymore based on the draw we got, and quite frankly, Kansas got its perfect draw too. So everything's okay. But like, let's just consider. Well, just the numbers, right? I'm trying to think here. Like, let's say we get Auburn instead of Houston. Let's say we get, just looking at the 8-9s here, Mississippi State. Let's say we get, who are the 3s? St. John's, quite frankly, as a 2, you know, and so
like are St. John fans going to travel from New York City to Wichita?
Not when the weather's bad.
True.
So for me, it was like, okay, if Kansas doesn't come, you need 2 things to happen. If you've got perfect weather, now the locals will come right with perfect weather. But if it because I went to Omaha last year. Okay, you didn't go to Omaha, right? Okay, you missed out. Same thing.
Yeah.
Like a very disappointing season. They didn't end up in the place they were supposed to end up, which was Omaha.
Right.
We went. Weather sucked.
Yeah.
It was dreary. It was cold. And I've been to Omaha 3 times, and that was by far the least pandemonium, as you call it, I'd seen in Omaha, because Omaha's also equipped and built to do these tournaments. Like, Omaha's a great tournament city, but it was not a ghost town, but it was not the same thing.
When you've gone to these cities, is Omaha the only opening round location you've been to? So the other times, has the weather been good?
No, I've been to Kansas City. No, this was the worst weather. Last year was the worst weather I walked in.
Even in ideal weather, good weather, is the atmosphere anywhere close to what we saw in
Wichita's the best. Omaha's really good.
Okay.
Omaha's, because they got the same kind of setup, right? Omaha's really, really good. They're close enough to the downtown bars. There's a connecting hotel. Omaha's about perfect. But my point was, so is Wichita.
Yeah.
Right? Because we had seen, I had been to, man, I'm not good at remembering specific years. I think that I had been to Omaha twice. Did KU come to? Yeah, KU came to Wichita and then to Omaha.
Yeah, right.
So I was in the second round. That was that year, because I went to Omaha with them to cover that Duke game. And here's the other thing, fans. Like, there was whenever we lost it to the COVID year, people were like, oh, and now maybe we'll get the Sweet 16 and Elite 8. And I'm like, you don't want the Sweet 16 and the Elite 8.
You want as many teams.
You want the first round.
You want the opening rounds.
Right.
You want the party atmosphere.
And the other
all
thing
the
is,
fan bases
when you
coming
get
in.
it, the other thing I'll tell you, when you get into Sweet 16 Elite 8 rounds, when you get into the second week, like, it's all basketball. Like, it's all basketball.
Right.
The people that are there to be there for basketball. The party vibe, the fun vibe, that's this weekend. And so it does look like it might be chilly on Thursday, but we can deal with that. The sun's out, which it looks like it will be. Like, that'll help. Now, it's not going to be, the weather's not going to cooperate like it was in 2018.
Right.
But what we do have is, like, Saturday looks like it could be a blast.
Well, and, on top of that, so we'll be at FanFest down at NASCAR Park that Parks and Rec, the city of Wichita, is putting on. We'll be doing our show, actually 4 live hours on Thursday and Friday. And then, we'll be down, our Odyssey team, KFH team, we'll be down there the entire time, 10 a.m., 10 p.m., Thursday, Friday, Saturday. One of the great things, too, as far as the atmosphere, you and I were talking about this also, Kansas gets a primetime game on Thursday, and then if they win, they'll play again on Saturday, which is better for the atmosphere downtown.
I think
for Wichita, I think so, than a Friday-Sunday matchup when all of the downtown parties are going to be done on that Sunday.
Because our games are on Friday. Yeah.
Because our games are Thursday, Saturday. Kansas parallels that with Thursday, Saturday as well. I think that's better for the draw and for the crowd, the attendance downtown on both of those days.
And so it goes up against Drake and Mizzou, as far as like the television broadcast, which isn't the worst thing either. So, like, in a perfect world, you would have, here's what you'd have. You'd have all the Drake and Mizzou fans pre-gaming in the afternoon, right, to get ready for it. And then you'll have a lot of Kansas fans who just happen to be here.
Just be down there, yeah.
And then while, people flood into the arena to watch Drake Mizzou, all of those businesses around there can maybe even catch more business than they would have by fans going to watch Kansas.
And we also know that, of course, FanFest at NASCAR Park that we'll be at, they'll be showing games on the video board in NASCAR Park for free for people that want to come out, for that. So I'm sure they will have the Kansas game on CBS, on Kwitch. They're in the park for people to just come out and watch it. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
All I want for Wichita is to be what Omaha is, and that's a consistent tournament site.
Yeah.
Every third year, I think it's a 3-year rotation. Every third year, Wichita needs to be a site. Do we need regionals? No, I don't even want regionals. I'd rather have first rounds. If we get a regional every once in a while, that's fine. But this is great, and the teams that are there are great. We got a couple minutes here, so there is a local connection, thanks to Jason, a great listener who pointed it out, on the coaching staff of SIU Edwardsville.
Yeah,
oddly enough,
I didn't know that.
I didn't either. Houston has a ton, so Houston's going to be good. We've got Sunrise players littered all over these rosters. We have local ties everywhere. Of course, Caleb Grill gets his return to the Wichita area. There's going to be a big Mays contingent out there rooting for Mizzou.
By the way, Caleb's had his best season as a Tiger this year.
Yeah.
And so making his return to Wichita, that's going to be great. So there'll be, quite a bit of excitement surrounding that.
Let me pull up. There's a list here. You've got Mark Mitchell, of course, who played at Sunrise, also on that team. Harlan Obioha, if you remember him from Sunrise, he was outstanding. He'll be in town. Miles Thompson, who I don't know as much about from Hutch, will be in town. So they're everywhere. And that's always good, too, because that's going to make it fun.
I know there's a Western Kansas connection with a kid that played at Hoxie that is on the UNC Wilmington. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yep.
So he'll be here. Eli Shetler from Andover.
That's right.
He is, I don't remember which team. Does he play for Tech, maybe?
We got Luke Barnwell at Tech.
For sure. Absolutely.
So that's where some of the Sunrise comes in. But Barnwell, who I think will be a big-time Division I coach, I'll call it within 5 years. He may get an opportunity before 5 years, but I think he'll be like a Power 5 coach by 5 years from now. We'll be talking about that. So he'll be back. People remember him very fondly from the tournament, from Sunrise, and all the great players that he coached and everything there. So there are tons. That also helps when you're a host city, I think. On the TV side, what happens when we have events like this? So let's go find the local connections.
Totally.
This one. It didn't take long. Everyone was like, "Oh, we'll be fine." There's about 100 here, so that makes it fun too. All right, let's take a break here. We're going to come back for hour number 2. We got a lot more tournament to talk. Let's talk some Chiefs news as well.
Got to talk Shockers.
Got to talk Shockers in the NIT. So we got plenty coming in our next hour. Stick around. Sports Daily. Come right back.
66 counties, 4 regions, and 1 weather team that you can trust. Find Storm Team 12 every weekday at 5:30 on the KSCW. Whatever the weather and wherever you are, Storm Team 12 is zooming in, going zone by zone to give you a more in-depth look at the forecast and some science behind the storms so you know more. We're focusing on the forecast so you can focus on what's important to you. Storm Team 12 Weather Focus, 5:30 on the KSCW.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite, or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
It's the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood, written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, You're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
What is GMFB overtime?
It's Peter, Jamie, Kyle, and Akbar breaking down the NFL 5 days a week.
It's okay to be excited.
It's this, that, and a whole lot of. It's football for everyone.
Weekdays at 10 a.m. on KSCW.
Are following a breaking update.
Every day, all day, stream the stories that have you talking near and far.
Whoever is behind the wheel of this bus is not stopping.
From hundreds of local reporters and meteorologists spanning the country.
Chaos here this morning at the UW campus.
Search LNL for the all-new Local News Live streaming app.
Make yourself known now.
310-01 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems
Why are they hiding it?
and real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issue a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
Now, from Wichita's most listened to sports radio, 97.5 and 1240 KFH. This is Sports Daily with Jacob Albrock and Tommy Kester.
All right, welcome back into Sports Daily, everybody. We are with you for another hour here from the Old Chicago by Town East Mall. Why are we over here? Well, because it's the Blarney Breakfast, and they are packed. I'm not kidding. There is a line of people waiting to come in and eat breakfast, like through the parking lot. There's still so many people coming in. You're too late for breakfast if you're listening to us right now, but you're not too late to get into their big 50-50 raffle. Go to rainbowsunited.org if you want to do that. We're, of course, reacting to Selection Sunday here. It is St. Patrick's Day. We got bagpipes. We got all kinds of stuff going on. Haven't seen any leprechauns. Tommy, you know where a leprechaun's favorite place to hang out is?
All right, get that button ready. Where, tell me. I don't know.
The patio.
That's so bad.
We have sound effects here.
Yeah,
thanks Max
sound
too
effects.
for the rim shot.
Yeah,
Max appreciated that one. I feel like I get judged by Max sometimes when I don't get a rim shot, but he was ready with that one. I appreciate that, Max. It is St. Patrick's Day. I did forget to wear green. I'm being haggled and appropriately for
pinched.
that.
Been pinched a few times.
Ashamed of it. I do, man. I have the best. My grandpa's just Kelly green sport coat. So mad, but we're here. So we got the Shockers in the NIT. Let's table that because we're in a shorter segment here. I want to talk about that. We'll do that in the next segment. Let's real quick, Tommy, on the Chiefs, the NFL. Couple NFL things, including the Chiefs bringing back Juju. I got to tell you, as much as I thought it made sense, I'm surprised by it now. because it's more money. They brought back Kareem Hunt too, which we haven't talked about. So Kareem Hunt and Juju are back. Basically, like they're just re-racking it, which I don't mind that. I'm fine with that. I don't have a problem with it at all because we never got to see this offense together healthy last year. Outside of DeAndre Hopkins, like they're all coming back. The difference will be Joe Thuney's not at left guard. That offense was league average last year. But I'll tell you that I think that has more to do with injury than ability. And I do like all the pieces fitting together. Kareem Hunt, I love that Juju's back because Juju allows you to back up whatever happens with Rashee Rice. And if there's still an off chance that anything happened with Xavier Worthy's recent run in, although that one seems to be dropped and gone, Juju can back up both of those roles a little bit where Hollywood Brown doesn't have to come out of the role they envision for him. So I love the Juju return. I think it makes a ton of sense for the Chiefs. I'm just surprised they had enough money to do it, quite frankly.
Yeah, I mean, this offense outside of the changes on offensive line, it's going to look pretty similar to what we saw a year ago. You've got a bunch of returners. I mean, obviously, not bringing back DeAndre Hopkins. I don't think that, anybody is really overly surprised that that's not happening for the most part, especially now that Hollywood and Juju are both back. You probably
don't love where DeAndre Hopkins ended up, though.
Well, true, but you probably couldn't keep all three of them.
You could, and he was going to be more expensive. Like, I would have told you that I would have rather probably kept DeAndre Hopkins than Juju, but you were never going to be able to afford that.
Yeah. No Justin Watson. Watson is now gone. That's probably a negligible impact, for the most part.
Yes.
No Samaje Perine this year. He's back with the Bengals.
Yeah, that's
on
fine.
A 1-year deal. So, I mean, but by and large, the offense is going to look extremely similar to what we saw a season ago. So for me, the changes offensively are going to have to come more from a scheme perspective than they are from a personnel
from a health perspective.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing too. Like they've got to block better, which they're trying to accomplish, but they just have to be healthier together. And I think that will make them better. So I like it. I will tell you though that I appreciate what Kareem Hunt did for the team last year. I don't love re-signing Kareem Hunt. I would have much rather attacked that through the draft, even if it's in the 4th or 5th round.
They still might. I mean,
they
still
four
well,
backs,
but
though.
maybe not in the mid round, but maybe in the late round. I mean, they're not going to carry 4 backs on their main roster, but you could have a practice squad type guy. You could do that sort of thing in development. Remember, Isaiah Pacheco, he was drafted in the 7th round, right? And like so I think they could use a late round pick or pick up an undrafted free agent or something for even a little bit more depth.
But you spent money on Elijah Mitchell and you spent money on Hunt.
Right.
So probably those two are making the roster. So I don't know. Like, here's what is becoming pretty clear to me outside of like a left tackle falling, because I think they would still maybe do that. This is going to be a defense heavy draft. And I think they are. I think that's what they're telling us without saying it out loud, because the losses for the team, if you're bringing back the whole offense, the losses for the team have come defensively when you're going to have to replace Justin Reed, when you're going to have to replace Charles Menahue. They were able to get Bolton back. That's great. But this will be a defense-heavy draft.
They lost Derek Nottie. He signed with the Jets over the weekend, so they don't have, one of their mainstays at defensive tackle. So keeping an eye on that for sure. And, and then, of course, as you mentioned, the offensive line changes. I think that it's balanced out. Like the left guard isn't going to be as good, assuming it's Kingsley Suamataia replacing Joe Thuney, but then you would think left tackle has improved, so the end of the line potentially has gotten
there is a world still
with Jalen Moore, right?
There is a world where Jalen Moore is not as good as Joe Thuney was at left tackle, and there is a world where to start the year the line is worse.
I mean, that would be an unmitigated disaster if that's the way that
it's possible.
Things play out.
I mean, it's possible.
I think what I'm most concerned about is the fact that, as you mentioned at the top of this segment, you had a league average offense a season ago,
right?
Basically returning everybody, basically running it back again for the most part, by and large, the same offensive personnel. So that's why if this team is going to get better with its offense, it's going to have to be schematically, not from a
I think it's health. I think it's, and I brought that up because like on the surface, you're like, oh no, but remember what happened as they got healthier toward the end of the year. The offense got a lot better too. And so to me, it's not so like they didn't have Rashee Rice last year. So Rice, Worthy, Kelsey, Juju, they'll be fine. They'll be fine. They got to block it up. That has to get better. But otherwise, they just have to be healthy. And we know Rice is going to miss some time at some point. So that's where you love seeing Hollywood. And honestly, that's why I love seeing Juju back. Now, if Rice misses 8 games or 6 games or whatever it is, Juju can play that role. Not as well in his advanced age, but scheme-wise, you can slot him right in there. Excuse me. So I like those things. I didn't love the Kareem Hunt move. I would have liked to put a little juice back there because I think when Pacheco's healthy, Pacheco and Kareem Hunt are the same.
I think they're hoping that, Elijah Mitchell can reclaim some of the explosiveness that we saw from him his rookie season. That's more of a, I think,
that's a dart throw.
That's a dart throw.
But he can't. I mean, he's capable. He's very good.
But I also do think, I don't think it's out of the question that a late round draft pick could be used on running back, or at worst an unsigned or undrafted free agent, potentially coming in to help bolster that, provide a little bit more depth, somebody that you can stash on the practice squad that maybe at some point you could then, move on to the main roster if necessary.
I mean, they'll bring another running back in. I just they're not going to be on the active roster probably. And I get it. Kareem Hunt is safe, right? He knows the offense. He can block. And he's just not very effective as a runner anymore. But you're hoping, the hope is always going to be that Isaiah Pacheco's healthy. And Hunt can, give some carries to make. Here's what I would tell you. Chiefs don't plan on running the ball next year based on the moves that they've made.
Do they ever plan on running the ball?
No. Well, 2 years ago when they won a Super Bowl, they ran it quite a bit. But no, I don't think the plan right now is to run the ball.
Yeah.
I think that is not going to be in the cards. And I think the other thing we're learning is they are going to draft like crazy on defense. Like crazy. Like I'll be surprised if they select more than 3 players offensively. And I think it'll be more like 2 maybe, and it'll be because somebody falls. Real quick, the other headline move of the weekend is last night the Bengals make this sort of like dual signing with Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. I want to do 2 things. I want to give the Bengals credit because Burrow sort of laid this out a while ago. Like he wanted this to happen. He was willing to help make it happen, all those things. And the Bengals, who don't have a history of doing this, did it. The question is it the right thing to do? I don't think it is. I just don't know what value there is in tying that much money up into 2 receivers. As much as I love both of them, and I do love both of them, I think they're great players, and I love Burrow, and he's going to be great for fantasy football and all those things. I don't know that that's the best use of the money for the Bengals specifically. With their, they're going to have to go out and address everything through the draft. We'll see.
I mean,
I wouldn't tie that much money up into wide receiver.
They are hoping and hoping and hoping that they can, have a little bit more of a productive draft defensively, that they can have some homegrown defensive talent. Because as it stands right now, they don't have defense. And I would have been,
especially when they're going to trade Trey Hendrickson.
Right, I would have been all right with maybe we try to keep Chase or Higgins and lock some money up there.
Yeah.
Because, then if they keep Trey Hendrickson, then you're looking at kind of like a Mahomes, Kelsey Jones big 3. But they're not doing that. It's all the money is tied up offensively. That's really going to hamstring them. Hey, real quick, I know we're up against a break here. It's spring break, right? And like people are traveling and that sort of thing. When the Irish go on vacation, where do they stay? A leper condo. Oh boy. Isn't that great? You got to give me an applause on that. A leper condo.
There you go. I was hoping that'd be more of a womp womp. That's good.
Thank you.
I'll give you an applause. I
appreciate that.
All right. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. Let's talk NIT. That was a weird sequence of events with the NIT with Wichita State. We'll get into that. I got to just, spoiler alert, I love that they're playing in that tournament. But we'll talk about it next when we come back. Don't go away. More Sports Daily right after this.
66 counties, 4 regions, and 1 weather team that you can trust. Find Storm Team 12 every weekday at 5:30 on the KSCW. Whatever the weather and wherever you are, Storm Team 12 is zooming in, going zone by zone to give you a more in-depth look at the forecast and some science behind the storms so you know more. We're focusing on the forecast so you can focus on what's important to you. Storm Team 12 Weather Focus, 5:30 on the KSCW.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
It's the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
What is GMFB overtime?
It's Peter, Jamie, Kyle, and Akbar breaking down the NFL 5 days a week.
It's okay to be excited.
It's this, that, and a whole lot of. It's football for everyone.
Weekdays at 10 a.m. on KSCW.
Are following a breaking update.
Every day, all day, stream the stories that have you talking near and far.
Whoever is behind the wheel of this bus is not stopping.
From hundreds of local reporters and meteorologists spanning the country.
Chaos here this morning at the UW campus.
Search LNL for the all-new Local News Live streaming app.
Make yourself known now.
83101 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospital lies from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
KFH.
All right, welcome back, everybody, here to Sports Daily. Glad to be here with you. Jacob Albrock, Tommy Castor. We're live at Old Chicago over by Town East Mall because it's the Blarney Breakfast, and we're here having fun. There's all kinds of delicious breakfast being served and a line still out the door. Now, you're too late for breakfast, but you're not too late to help out Rainbows United. And, Tommy, we've got a special guest here with us for a couple minutes to talk a little about that.
Yeah, Sean Tarbell, Davis Moore joining us here on the program this morning. And Sean, I've been hearing a bunch of stories about the tips and how great you've been able to do, at least in past years, about getting tipped and being able to contribute a bunch of money to Rainbows United.
Yeah, so last year I did I did collect the most tips last year, so I guess I kind of get bragging rights for that. But this year we're looking to do even better, and the great news is that Davis Moore matches all the tips today, and not just mine, all of them. But I'm going to suggest go ahead and get online, look up my name, and tip that direction.
And the great thing about that is that support, and people can get in on the 50-50 raffle. There are still ways to help Rainbows United, even if you're not having breakfast, which serves, as we learned earlier in the show, special needs kids that are local to the area. So it's a great cause, and you're out here with a bunch of celebrity waiters and wait staff just having fun with folks. But this is a pretty amazing event and just an incredible turnout for it.
Yeah, 100%. The atmosphere is just electric. It's crazy. I got here maybe 30 minutes ago, and I walked in, and there's a couple hundred people in line. I felt bad as I was walking by people. I said, I promise I'm not cutting in line.
Sean, what's the importance of having Davis Moore participate in a community event like this?
Well, that's it. Rainbows United does so many great things for the community, and so we like to give back. We like to participate. We like to be involved in the community. That's, those are the people who are buying and servicing vehicles with us, and it's just important to us to be involved and give back.
We appreciate it, Sean. We'll let you pass out some more pancakes. Go work for those tips.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys.
All right. There goes Sean Tarbell. Appreciate Sean and everybody for stopping by here on Sports Daily as we're live with it. It's been fun out here as the bagpipes right on cue. You can see, if you're watching us on the video stream, you can see them behind us as they. And if you're listening to us, you can hear them right now. Tommy, let's talk about the Shockers. So this is wild, right? Everybody on the world thought that Wichita State's season was over after they lost to the AAC tournament, including, it sounds like, a lot of the Shockers.
Yeah, Paul Mills as well. Taylor Eldridge had an article that came out in the Wichita Eagle, I believe early this morning, talking to Paul Mills, where Paul Mills said that he found out that the Shockers were playing in the NIT from his daughter, and his daughter was on Instagram, and she said, "Hey, Dad, the Shockers made it in the NIT." He's like, "You're kidding me." She's like, "No, they did." I guess there were a handful of players that had already taken off for spring break. So now Wichita State is bringing them back to play in this opening round NIT matchup in Stillwater against Oklahoma State tomorrow night.
So here's what's really interesting. Well, just real quick, just from the basketball perspective, they will open tomorrow night against Oklahoma State. So it's an easy place for fans to get and everything in Stillwater, which is real handy. Here's some of the other teams in this region, Tommy. Northern Iowa, Wichita State played them this year. St. Louis, Wichita State played them this year. North Texas, Wichita State played them twice this year. And then there's Furman, who has some history in this tournament with Wichita State, right? The Marcus McDuffie year. It was Furman, right, that knocked them off in New York City? I believe it was.
I think that's right.
Listeners
a while.
Can fact check me on that. I believe it was Furman who got them in the tournament that year. Or maybe they beat Furman on their way to New York City. One way or the other, I'm pretty sure that year, their most recent year, they played Furman. I'm almost certain. But there's an SMU, of course, an old AAC foe. So there's a lot of familiarity in this. But I don't really care about that as much as I care that they're in the postseason. There are a lot of places where the NIT is not exciting, and I get that, right? Like, K-State fans are not going to be excited if the Wildcats are in the NIT. I totally understand why. I get it. But for Wichita State, the NIT has always been something special. They've had some really special runs inside of the NIT. And if you really dig deep, big runs in the NIT have meant big things for this program. I love that they're playing in this, and I think it does mean something to the fans. I don't know how much it means for recruiting and the players because the world has changed since the last time they played in this tournament. But for the fans, them being in the postseason and just giving the fans a reason to get excited about postseason basketball is a big deal for the program as they move forward into next year. A run in the NIT, Tommy, to me, there's no question, will ignite the fan base a little bit going into next year.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. I remember 2011, I believe, was the year when Wichita State won the NIT. And that was sort of the precursor to the run of dominance that we saw from the Greg Marshall era and the Final Four run, undefeated season, all those different things. Is it likely that an NIT run can fuel that kind of run again for Wichita State? Probably not. I think
it's a different world. It's hard
a different
to say.
world. I think the expectations, probably should be managed appropriately. But I don't disagree with you that having a good showing in the NIT can absolutely continue to ignite this excitement around the program, can get a fan base excited about the future and that sort of thing. Any kind of postseason run like that can definitely do that. It's just a matter of how you continue to carry that on. One thing that's interesting about this opening round NIT matchup is that, if you'll recall, Wichita State and Oklahoma State played in a scrimmage against each other back in October, I believe it was. The results of that scrimmage was not, released to the public.
Although I heard Wichita State fared well.
Yeah, and that's a long time ago, right? We're talking almost 6 months ago when that happened. But these two teams do have some familiarity with one another, and so I don't know if that means anything or not for their chances in this opening round matchup, but it certainly doesn't hurt.
No, it doesn't. And look, if they don't beat Oklahoma State, I still think it's good that they played, as long as it's not like and it won't be. Like the players will get fired. It may be a little tricky to get them back and get them, but they're going to be motivated to play in this game. I'm almost certain, because there's a lot of it gives players that were going to be done another chance to play basketball. But either way, it gives fans like some semblance of a postseason game, and I think that matters to this fan base. It doesn't matter to every fan base. It doesn't. I get it, and it's fine that it doesn't. But for this one, it does. And you just, like, if you look at the McDuffie, Samaje, Haynes Jones, like, that team was special to the fan base. It was special to the university, and people were fired up to see if they could make a run, and they did. I think that the fan base really does like this team because they brought so many players came back in an era where players don't come back at a high clip. So I think it's easy to attach to. I think it's going to be easy to get behind, and then we'll see what that does for next year. But go play a few games. Go maybe do something special. I mean, look, they can, right? If you can beat Memphis and hang with Memphis and do some of the things and win some of the non-con games like they have, they got a shot, especially in a tournament like this where it's chaotic and everybody's cold or whatever. Teams that can play great defense are going to have a shot in a tournament like that, which Wichita State, that's their MO.
Yeah, it's an interesting Oklahoma State team because they've got a first-year head coach in Steve Lutz coming in, rebuilding the program to an extent. There are some returners. Bryce Thompson, is still there, and he's been, just a great offensive threat in his time in college. But they have a losing record. They're under 500 for the season. However, this Oklahoma State team is 7-3 at home.
Yeah.
And so they play well inside Gallagher-Iba. It'll be a tough challenge for Wichita State for sure. But I think that they've got the talent to be able to perform well on the road against this team. So I think it'll be a fun matchup, and I think it'll be a close game.
And I think the Shocker fans will make the drive.
Sure.
It's
an under 2 hour drive from Wichita, right? Like just under 2 hours, I think.
It gets, well, yeah, I believe geographically that's actually the closest college to us. It's not KU or K-State. I just I can't I can't help but think about the difference of them not playing in the postseason and playing in a postseason.
Yeah.
With the CBI or whatever the other one is, have been the same thing. Maybe.
I don't think it would have been. I mean,
but the NIT is special to this fan base.
Yeah.
And I don't I think that's really cool. I think it's it feels a little bit like the summer tournament, the TBT,
yeah.
And that some things mean different things to fan bases.
Yeah.
Wichita obviously gets behind the TBT, and they get behind the NIT, and it's not going to be a home game. That's okay. Like just go play well. I'm excited they're playing on TV. I'm excited we get to watch the team again because the team like recaptured some of its magic from very early in the season, and I feel like we didn't get to see it enough, quite frankly.
Yeah.
Like we didn't get to see enough of their upside, so now we get to see them play more games, and I'm happy.
Well, and from an expectation perspective, I mean, let's be real, let's be clear. I mean, this is a team that I think that a lot of people thought could compete for a slot in the NCAA tournament this season,
and I think they could have.
I think they could have as well. You take away the 1-7 start to a conference play, it could have been a completely different outcome for the Shockers for postseason play. So while it's great that they have some postseason. They have a postseason game, at least one guaranteed tomorrow night at Oklahoma State. Yeah, like let's be real. It would have been great to see them for sure in the NCAA tournament. I don't think they met the expectations that most people felt like they had going into this year. But this is a good consolation, I would say, for Wichita State. It's better than having no postseason at all.
That's the key. Like it's way better. And that look, North Texas didn't get into the tournament. Ultimately, Wichita State, outside of winning that conference tournament, no matter what had happened, they weren't going to get in. Because if North Texas didn't get in, North Texas had a really good resume. Like if North Texas didn't get in, even if Wichita State didn't have the disaster start, they weren't going to get in.
Yeah.
But it was disappointing for sure. And it's been fun to see their return to what they were going into, because I think ultimately that's what it was, right? Like by the end of the season, we just saw them playing like they played before the 1-7 stretch. So now we do get to see that team play in a postseason. It was fun to watch them in the tournament. It was fun to see them almost take down Memphis in that game, which we didn't have a chance to talk about because it was on Friday.
Man.
Maybe we should do that for a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
That goaltending call, man, I do not like ref talk, but that was stupid.
That was one of the more egregious calls I've seen in a long time.
And I don't even know what the rule is, by the way. I tried to follow along with what the rule is and the way they called it, and maybe it was an unfortunate setup. I don't care what the rule is. It shouldn't be the rule because that ball was coming off of the rim.
Yeah.
Like that, there was no chance that ball was going.
It wasn't touching the rim. I felt like it was outside of the cylinder.
It was underneath outside.
That was not a basket interference at all.
And unless it was going to pull a Kevin Hernandez Seinfeld loogie and like go up and over and around and turn a corner, that ball was not going in, and they had a chance to look at it. That's what was so disappointing, is they had a chance to look at the play, but it didn't happen. And look, there were self-inflicted wounds. They couldn't inbound the ball in the second half. Like that had more to do with it. Right.
And far too many turnovers.
Yeah.
Just in general.
Yeah, but they were right there. So that would have been a tough way to end it. Now we get to see him play, and you know, it's good for the program. I hope that, and here's the other thing, like a lot's going to depend on what Corey Washington decides to do this offseason. You hope he'll come back. You never know in the transfer portal era. There'll be a lot of teams that would like to have his services. Maybe an NIT run helps convince him, you know, like maybe that helps fire up a donor to get invested in Shocker basketball again. Like that's what I mean. Like they're just, the opportunities are there. Nothing would have changed if they play in the NIT and lose. It would be the same thing as if they didn't play in the NIT at all.
One other note from the Taylor Eldridge article from this morning, he asked Paul Mills if he felt like there was any players that weren't going to be able to come back or weren't going to be playing in this. He said no. He thinks that they will have their full complement of players for the game tomorrow night.
Another reason, because again, like this, it was never about, to me this year, like it was never about chemistry. It was never like this team plays hard, and they haven't had any stuff that you could visibly see anyway that made you think like, oh no, like they're just not. No, they've seemed like a great group that had a stretch where they just didn't play very well. And so yeah, it's good. I want to see Bijan Cortez play more.
Totally.
The way he's played lately.
Totally.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah. I mean, he looked good again in that game against Memphis.
He
had a couple heat check moments, and you know, and just the team in general, and Bijan, you know, also specifically, you got to clean up on the turnovers. Like the bad comes with the good, I guess. But at the end of the day, what he was able to do offensively down the stretch for Wichita State in the AAC tournament, the last couple of regular season games, that was huge. I mean, that was a huge benefit for Wichita State.
Yep, we're glad they're there. I have not checked with our boss Tony. I assume we will be there.
We'll be covering the game. It'll be on KUYN tomorrow night. I do have confirmation on that. And so, yeah, just like every other Shocker basketball game, it will be on KEYN 103.7 tomorrow night.
Yes, and we're excited about that as well. We'll have coverage. We'll get it all done, and here we go. It's time to rock and roll in the postseason with Wichita State. We're going to talk the big tournament when we come back. Tommy, real quick, shout out to Crestview Country Club for their sponsorship. So we talk a lot about I don't know if you played golf. I played a little golf lesson, but yesterday, here's why we like it. Yesterday, my wife goes to play tennis, takes her 2 girls, they play with her. I go to play. I didn't play golf because it was full. The weather was too nice. But I went to the driving range and the putting green, and then we went in and we had a beer, and the kids had ice cream. And it was like a 3-hour stretch on a Sunday afternoon where I was like, this is why this is cool. Like, this is pretty cool.
Yeah.
We talked to a friend who had a kid in a golf clinic, and they were doing their big tournament, for a bunch of kids. Like, it was just like there was a lot of stuff going on around us. But anyway,
I think that's the biggest thing too. It's, not just about, if you like to go play golf. There are absolutely ways to get the entire family involved, to fill up a weekend day, a Sunday, a Saturday, whatever the case might be. It's about building that community.
Yep. And we appreciate it. And it was a great time. So give them a call. They've got all kinds of memberships. And again, pretty soon we should have some opportunities and fun things that will cross over that listeners can have a chance to participate in. So shout out to them. Shout out to Prairie Fire Coffee for keeping us fueled up. Back in the studio today. Although are we drinking Prairie Fire right now?
We're drinking kind of coffee.
There are so many of these events. Yeah. Maybe it is, but we didn't want to take that away from them. So shout out to them. And we don't want to take away your opportunity to win some HTO like you always can. You can do that right now. You can still enter to win. It'll be T is the keyword TEA to 20357. Message and data rates apply. You can enter once per day, which is right now. If you want to win some free HTO iced tea at either Wichita location or in Derby, just text that keyword to 20357. That's T.
I got to tell you real quick before we go to break, this has met and exceeded my expectations. The first time I've been at the Blarney Breakfast, and there's still a line out the door, people waiting to come in here at Old Chicago East. So we really appreciate Rainbows United and everybody that puts this on. It's such a great cause, such a great event.
Yep. It special needs kids in the area, and you can still help. You can't get breakfast, as we've mentioned. Got to make that a part of the agenda next year because it looks fantastic.
Yeah, get your tickets early for next year.
Sit here,
it's awesome.
Watching everybody eat this amazing breakfast.
We're talking eggs and hash browns and pancakes and biscuits and
punishment over here for us.
So good.
But you can still help. You can go to rainbowsunited.org.
You ever watch
get the 50-50 raffle?
I know we're up against a break. You ever watch College Game Day when they bring out all the barbecue and stuff, and like Kirk Herbstreit and Lee Court, they're eating on the air?
Yeah.
I feel like that should be us today. Like,
we
bring out a smorgasbord of breakfast, and we'll just eat while we're on.
I've probably said this before. Like, as in small market, I haven't done it as much here. I think I've done an ice cream eating contest here, but there was a stretch in the summertime when I was working in Amarillo where we'd go visit small towns every day for a week, and it was exhausting. It was hot. Like, it was fun. It was a lot of fun though, and every single time the sports guys got put into eating contests, like the weirdest eating contests, and one of them was pancakes, and that was one of the more difficult.
I'm sure.
So we had this pancake, and they were like, it was like in a skillet. So we're talking like a 2-inch pancake. And we had already that week, we'd done hot dogs, we'd done hamburgers. I think we did pizza. I think we did ice cream. We did all these eating content. And this was at the end of the week. And we sit there. Shout out to Matt Hamilton, who's now the general manager of the Wind Surge. We sit there, we're doing this, and we were pretty good at it too. Like, we didn't back down. We got this dude in overalls, and I'm pretty sure he wasn't wearing an undershirt. Not only did he finish I think Hamilton puked. He took a shot of the syrup at the end, like to just rub it in our faces.
Yeah.
It was incredible. All right.
That's amazing.
We'll come back. More bracket talk next on Sports Daily. Don't go away.
66 counties, 4 regions, and 1 weather team that you can trust. Find Storm Team 12 every weekday at 5:30 on the KSCW. Whatever the weather and wherever you are, Storm Team 12 is zooming in, going zone by zone to give you a more in-depth look at the forecast and some science behind the storms so you know more. We're focusing on the forecast so you can focus on what's important to you. Storm Team 12 Weather Focus, 5:30 on the KSCW.
The future of television has arrived. Next Gen TV is here with stunning video, movie theater quality sound, enhanced voice clarity, and interactive features, all upgradable for the future. Learn more at watchnextgentv.com.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
It's the canvas of our imagination. They tell a story. Clouds affect the events of your day. Sometimes they growl, sometimes they inspire, but they're always the messengers of nature's mood written in the sky. Storm Team 12 understands the language of clouds. We're dedicated to decoding their message so you know what to expect. Behind every cloud, there is a story waiting to be told. Trust Ross Jansen and Storm Team 12, alerting you first to the impact on your life.
When you need help, remember, you're not alone. We are here. We are neighbors. We are together. We are Kansas. We are 12 News.
They say,
What is GMFB overtime?
It's Peter, Jamie, Kyle, and Akbar breaking down the NFL 5 days a week.
It's okay to be excited.
It's this, that, and a whole lot of. It's football for everyone.
Weekdays at 10 a.m. on KSCW.
Are following a breaking update.
Every day, all day, stream the stories that have you talking near and far.
Whoever is behind the wheel of this bus is not stopping.
From hundreds of local reporters and meteorologists spanning the country.
Chaos here this morning at the UW campus.
Search LNL for the all-new Local News Live streaming app.
Make yourself known now.
310-01 in traffic pursuit.
Oh my God, here.
Investigate TV Plus begins with real people.
We investigate stories that impact you.
And inspire change every day.
Something is broken.
Real problems.
Why are they hiding it?
And real solutions.
My daughter was dying in front of me.
What was your reaction when he said that?
Investigate TV Plus, weekdays at 3:30 p.m. on KWCH.
Sometimes people tell us, I don't get it, it's just tea. But let me tell you, we are so much more than just tea.
With 20 plus flavors of sweet and unsweet iced tea, the possibilities are endless. Come on in and try them all for free to find your favorite or get us on the go for your busy lifestyle. And don't miss happy hour every day. So the next time someone tells you it's just tea, tell them to come by and find out why we say, drink tea, be happy.
Mornings are busy. We're here to make your mornings better. We report the stories that affect you.
3 more hospitalized from contaminated apple juice just a day after the FDA issued a recall.
We're here to make your mornings better.
Closing east and westbound lanes of K96 for repairs.
With 12 News, you're prepared for your whole day.
Scattered thunderstorms across the state into the afternoon.
Stay a step ahead with 12 News this morning on KWCH and KSCW.
Daily is on KFH.
Hey, welcome back, everybody, to Old Chicago over by Town East. Having fun at the Blarney Breakfast. Appreciate the bagpipes serenading us all morning. Appreciate Rainbows United and their cause and what this cause is all about. Raising some money for them. You can still do that. Go to rainbowsunited.org. Get yourself a 50-50 raffle ticket. You're too late for the food. Tommy and I were too late for the food. We just got to watch everybody else eat this amazing breakfast all around us. The struggle is real. It's real.
You're a breakfast guy, aren't you?
Absolutely.
I love breakfast.
Breakfast could be every meal for the rest of my life, and I'd be fine.
Yeah.
I love breakfast. All right, let's talk the bracket. We talked about KU's path in the bracket. We love KU's path in the bracket. It was quite literally through the first 2 rounds the perfect draw for KU. When you look around, at least in my opinion, when you look around the rest of whether you want to call it the 10s or the 8-9, the teams in that range, and then the teams in the 2-3 range, like this is what you wanted if you are a KU fan, I think, wanting to see them advance at least to the Sweet 16. Stylistically, this is what they needed. Let's talk cheddar here, Tommy, our real brackets. I do have KU advancing to the Sweet 16. I do have them beating Arkansas and St. John's, but then I have them losing to Tech in my bracket. How does yours look for that region?
Yeah, so it's actually almost identical to what you just said. I actually have KU going to the Sweet 16. I really debated that and deliberated because I've been less than impressed with the way that they've played lately, especially defensively. But with their path, with Arkansas, potentially St. John's, I like their chances to get into the second weekend, but then I have them falling to Texas Tech in the Sweet 16 as well.
Yeah, it's going to be, and they could beat Tech just because it's that third meeting thing and they're familiar with them, but that's a tough. That's where it gets really tough for them. And it'll be tough whether it's Tech, Drake, or Missouri, quite frankly, stylistically. So there's that region. I do have Florida coming out of that region. We can start with the West. It's, it's not that I haven't been all the way on board with Florida. I've liked others more, but man, they have really late in the year hit a stride, probably, with the exception of Duke and, the Cooper Flag injury, they've hit a stride that's probably more impressive than anybody, quite frankly. I think it's more impressive than their conference foe, Auburn, what they've been able to do late. Tennessee has been really good, but I don't think Tennessee can match the offense of Florida. Florida does everything. Florida's good all over the place. Like, they're good at everything. This is a really good. So I grew into them, and I do have them in the Final Four.
So I've actually got Texas Tech going all the way to the Final Four out of the West. I've got them upsetting Florida in the Elite Eight.
Absolutely can.
But, I think that the path for Texas Tech, and I'm always a big fan of, once I pick like my team, Kansas, to lose, I want whoever beats them to go a lot further. So, I had Texas Tech beating Kansas in the Sweet 16. I've got them going all the way to the Final Four. And then I've actually got Texas Tech falling in the Final Four.
I wanted Texas Tech to end up in the region with Auburn because that's where I was going to take Tech to the Final Four. And before the conference tournaments, I would have done the same thing. But I do think Florida is just on a heater right now. But I do love Tech and their chances to get back to a Final Four. So I don't hate that at all. We'll go up to the South then. But any big upsets you have in that region? That region
in the South.
Back to the West real quick. Any upsets? I think I think I'm a little chalky there.
My big upset that I've got in the West I've got Colorado State.
I thought about it.
Going all the way to the Elite Eight where they fall to Florida.
In fact, if you look at my paper bracket, I had it and then I scribbled it out and went ahead and went with Memphis. But I had it as a possibility. I do have Drake beating Missouri as an 11.
Actually, so I do as well.
Yeah. I don't think that's an upset.
But then I've got Texas Tech beating Drake.
What is the line? Do you see the line yet?
I don't see the line.
I bet you Drake's not. If they're an underdog, it won't be by much in that game. So that's one of those seed line, but not truly that much of an upset. All right, now
by the way, I really like Colorado State. I like Nico Medved. I think he's a phenomenal coach.
I do too.
And I think they could make a run. I've got them going to the Elite Eight.
I do too. The one difference for me with Memphis is this is the year Memphis feels like they're absolutely living up to their potential and they're not underachieving, and they've pretty consistently done it. And I do think they're very talented. So that's where I ultimately went back to Memphis.
If you can get PJ Haggerty to score 42 points, in a tournament
game. But it's not just him. Look, they look like these teams look out of the SEC. They've got two monsters. They've got dudes that can score. It's really, to me, it's about can Penny coach them up. All right. I have Auburn out of the South just because I didn't want to put Auburn in the Final Four. I didn't want to put Auburn in the Final Four. I don't know why. Bruce Pearl, in his post-game comments, made me more prone to do it. Makes
Talking
me
about
like
his
him a little bit
guards,
more.
how-
Talking about the way his guards played.
He basically said his guards were very tough, but he didn't
using
use
one
the
of
word.
my all-time favorite words, not because of a literal meaning, just because of its figurative. Like, love that word. But he
well, you like it literally too, but that's okay.
Yeah, listen, it's a family show. It's easy to root against Bruce Pearl too. And so I'm like, Auburn, like, I don't. So anyway, I didn't see anybody there. Iowa State's the one. And so I love Iowa State metrically. I really wanted to put Iowa State in there, but they haven't been. I was hoping they'd get hot. They just haven't gotten hot again.
Well, and they're going to be without Keyshawn Gilbert for the tournament.
Oh, I didn't even see that.
Like he's injured. His college career is done at this point.
Oh man.
So I've got them going to the Elite Eight, but I've got Auburn.
Too.
I've got Auburn beating Iowa State in the Elite Eight.
I have Michigan State beating Iowa State. I think I'll have to look back. I can't remember who I have between Iowa State and Michigan State right now. I'll have to look back at my bracket. I just have a blank bracket I'm looking at right now. This though,
by the way, the only upset I've got coming out of the West is I've got New Mexico going all the way to the Elite Eight where they fall to Iowa State. I like Richard Pitino. I like that team. I think that they've got an opportunity to make a little bit of a run.
Well, my daughter Coco has them in the Final Four.
Well, all right.
She has like New Mexico. She's got a wild.
She must
bracket.
love the Lobos.
Yeah, she's been to New Mexico.
She's a Lobo.
So like anytime she was picking teams and like there was a place she recognized, she's 7. She was like, "Oh, New Mexico, I've been there." I actually have. I'm kind of with the masses on UC San Diego. I have UC San Diego making the Sweet 16. I got to beat Michigan, and I got to beating I think Texas A&M. So I have them going through. I'll take my wife's Aztecs or UNC over Ole Miss. So I have whichever 11 seed wins that one. This one is my least chalky probably, but at the end of the day, I still ended up putting Auburn in there because I wish Tennessee or Tech or somebody. That's what I was hoping would end up with Auburn because I would have taken them. All right.
I was pretty chalky, by the way, in the South. Outside of Creighton beating Louisville in the 8-9 matchup, the 9 over the 8, I've got Michigan advancing to the Sweet 16. I've got A&M beating Yale, and then they fall in the second round. I've got Ole Miss moving on. I like Chris Beard, and he's got them back to the tournament for the first time in 3 or 4 years. So I was pretty chalky overall in that region, other than New Mexico over Marquette.
Yeah, and I'm chalkier in my bracket than I ever have been before. I have the 4 1s, as I mentioned, as my Final Four, and it make my skin crawl, but whatever, it is what it is. I just go gut, hip shot, like I do it real fast before I even pay attention region by region, and then I was done, and I was like, man, I have all the 1s in there, which includes Duke in the East. So Duke, it appears like Cooper Flack is going to be good to go. And if that's the case, I think Duke is the best team in the country. I'm going to take Houston because I think Kelvin Sampson is as good as there is, if not the best. And I think their old, rugged roster can get him. But I do think Duke's the best team in the country. That doesn't always mean that's the team that wins a tournament. And they'll be the favorite, I think, to win it all. But I've got them. I don't think I have. This is, I believe, straight chalk for me. It is straight chalk for me. My son took Vanderbilt. He thought that he's 5. He thought it was Vanderbilt, so he took them on a little bit of a run. I don't think I have. I think I'm straight chalk through the first round on this one.
Yeah, I'm straight chalk as well. I don't have any upsets in that region at all. I've got all favorites going to the second round, and I've got in the East at least. I've got BYU as my team though, making it all the way to the Sweet 16.
I have BYU making it to the Elite Eight.
I mean the Final Four. I've got BYU all the way to the Final Four.
I've got them to the Elite Eight, losing to Duke. But and there, look, BYU. If you're in a bracket contest, I feel like BYU is the wrecker. Like, because if you're like us and you love the way they shoot and do all those things, they could very easily lose in the first round.
They could, because I think that BYU fans have a reason to be frustrated with their draw in the opening round, because VCU is a really good team and they're defensively great.
And stylistically,
it's
not
a
good matchup.
It's a bad matchup.
Yeah.
But I feel like if they can get through VCU, then they could easily make a run all the way to the Final Four.
Yep, and I agree, and I'll tell you the team that I could absolutely see getting there that nobody's giving enough credit is Wisconsin. Wisconsin's great on offense. Wisconsin's great on defense. They're always good in the tournament. Wisconsin could absolutely go to the Final Four, and I feel like nobody's going to pick them because they're in the Duke region. All right, Let's go down to the Midwest then here. Our champion, both of us agree, Houston. I'll take Gonzaga. I know Utah State. Utah State is my only upset of the opening round in this one. I don't like the bottom of the Midwest region. I like Tennessee. I shouldn't say that. I like Tennessee. So I've got Houston to Tennessee. This region for me is almost straight chalk, honestly, outside of Utah State, who I have losing in the second round.
It's another region for me that I'm totally chalk. I mean, the final two regions that we talked about, I've got chalk all the way through. But I do have Tennessee making it all the way to the Final Four from there. I think that they can, get through and, I take that back. I've got Houston going all the way.
Yeah, you got Houston as your champ. I wanted to put Tennessee in the Final Four real bad. Like, as bad as I wanted to put Tech in there, I wanted to put Tennessee in there even more. But you couldn't do it when they're with your champion.
So you've got all 4 1 seeds.
Yeah.
I have 2 1 seeds in Auburn and Houston, and then I've got Texas Tech and BYU. So it's a very Big 12 heavy Final Four.
Which I do love the Big 12's chances in the tournament this year. I think the Big 12 will fare well. I think you're going to see the Big 12 well represented.
I just looked. I have 5 Big 12 teams in my Elite Eight. I've got Iowa State going to the Elite Eight. I've got Arizona going to the Elite Eight.
I do too.
On top of the 3 teams that I mentioned that move on to the Final Four.
I might be right there with you with 5 in. Yeah, I think I might be right there with you on that. I know I have Iowa State in, and I have Tech, and I have BYU.
Yep.
Let me go to my Elite Eight here real quick. So I've got Iowa State. There's 1. Tech, Kansas, 2, 3, which you have Kansas in there too, right?
To the Sweet 16.
Oh, you know what? I don't have Kansas in the Elite Eight. Yeah. Sorry. So I have Iowa State, Tech. I'm on Arizona, BYU, 3, 4, and then
Houston,
yeah.
5.
Yeah.
And speaking of the Big 12, before we go, egregious that West Virginia didn't make it into the tournament.
Yeah,
that was so bad.
There were some tough draws in there. Those playing games are going to be incredible. I will say that. Like, the Dayton games are awesome as far as the 11s. San Diego State, North Carolina in a playing game. Texas Xavier.
Yeah.
Like, that is great. North Carolina is a team that shouldn't have made it.
Right.
I think you could easily make the case for the others. I feel bad for West Virginia because, they did a great job. But Big 12 is going to have a chance to get out there and earn it and go get some revenge, right? Yeah, everyone's talking SEC. And the SEC was great. Like, they deserve to get the teams. There wasn't anybody out of the SEC where I was like, oh, they shouldn't have been in there. Vanderbilt was the fringy team, but it's fine. It's fine. The Big 12, the teams that are there for the Big 12 are all equipped to win tournament games. I like their chances to win tournament games. If you go back to that metric that we were talking about in the Ken Palm, Tech fits it, Houston fits it, Iowa State fits it. Like, there are teams that are on paper very equipped to make runs in this tournament. So I think the Big 12 will be good. We both like Kansas to the Sweet 16. And look, we are going to talk a lot about it over the next couple of days, but we got to get ready for a shocker game as well in the NIT, which I'm really excited about. All right, don't go away. We're at Old Chicago. Come right back.